Jonathan Gresham, he never got a proper run as the ROH World Champion. Over 200 days as the champion. One of the most forgettable runs in Ring of Honor history. And I don't blame Gresham for that. It's just a product of him becoming champion at the same time the company that he works for went dark. He became the Ring of Honor World Champion after the announcement was already made that the company was going to go dark for a period of months. He won the belt in December. Ring of Honor did not hold another show until April. And I know he has defended the ROH title on the Indies and on Impact. That's not Ring of Honor. You're the Ring of Honor World Champion. You need to defend that title in Ring of Honor. Tony Khan had a decision to make. Who does he want on top representing ROH right now? They're trying to get a TV deal. They're trying to build this thing back up. Claudio has the exposure from being on, well, not only WWE television, but he's on AEW television every week as part of the Blackpool Combat Club. And as I am sitting here talking about this Ring of Honor show and talking about Jonathan Gresham, I get a message from a friend telling me to check Twitter. So I just put a pause on this to go check and see what's going on. And eerily enough, there is an update on Jonathan Gresham. There is actually some news about Jonathan Gresham coming out of the ROH show last night. This is according now to Fightful Select, so credit to them and Sean Ross Sapp for the update. But the update is that Jonathan Gresham asked for his release on Saturday ahead of the Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view that saw him lose the championship to Claudio Castagnoli. Fightful is told that there was a lack of communication between the company and Gresham leading up to the weekend, and Gresham was said to have felt disrespected by this. Among other things, we learned that the lack of time for the world title match was a tipping point as well. Just talked about that. A shockingly short length of time for a world championship match in Ring of Honor. Not only did they open the show, they curtain jerk, but they gave them 11 minutes. So that makes total sense that Jonathan Gresham would be very upset about that. Fightful is told that Gresham finally procured a meeting with Tony Khan before the show. He was said to have communicated the frustration that led to him cussing out Tony Khan. So some drama behind the scenes here in Ring of Honor. Gresham has also deactivated his Twitter account following his loss to Claudio at Death Before Dishonor. And I saw something else about how he may have also deactivated the social media for his Terminus promotion, which he runs. And it looks like the update is that not only is Gresham, wanting out of his Ring of Honor AEW deal, but he may be done with wrestling altogether. So that is the update on Jonathan Gresham. I did not know this until literally just now. The lack of time for the championship match, as far as him being frustrated with that makes a lot of sense. And it's one of these chicken or egg things now, because did a lot of this go down before the decision was made to only give these guys 11 minutes? Based on this update, it sounds like that's not the case. And the match was just always meant to go 11 minutes, and obviously he was very upset about that. The lack of communication, though, I'm just looking here, and Sean Ross Sapp has a note on Twitter saying that there seems to be a lot of lack of communication between talent relations and talent that we have heard from. We have had stories of Gresham, Marco, Cage, Janela, and others not being able to get answers or responses. And I have seen those same stories as well. There are AEW talents, some of whom are no longer in the company, who have said the same thing. There is a lack of communication. They have questions, they don't get answers, or they don't get answers in a timely manner. My understanding, when I hear talent relations, because Tony Khan does not run talent relations in AEW, although he is the boss. The buck stops with him. But he does not run talent relations. I believe Christopher Daniels either runs the talent relations department, if there is a department, or is working in a talent relations role as well as a talent role for the company. So I don't know if this falls on Christopher Daniels or if this falls on other people, partially on Tony Khan. But clearly now there is a pattern here. And there are communication issues that need to be addressed behind the scenes, because we're starting to see and hear from talent now, or hear about talent, who are getting increasingly frustrated by this. And Jonathan Gresham is just the latest one, cussing out Tony Khan. Now look, I totally understand the frustration that he's feeling. Everything I just talked about. The fact that this guy became the Ring of Honor World Champion at a time when the promotion was dead. And there was no firm answer as to when Ring of Honor was going to start running shows again. So he was sort of the traveling champion. He was going all over the place and defending the title in other places, but there was no ROH show until April. And now here we are. He just lost the championship. I don't know if that's part of the reason why he would have left or cussed him out. Again, did he know? When did he find out that he was going to lose? Did that have anything to do with it? Or is it strictly a communication issue and he feels disrespected? I'm reminded now that I think about this of a promo. And this was in the build-up. This was, I think, after he had turned heel and linked up with Tully Blanchard, talking in one of his promos about how he sat at home for months and he didn't hear a word from anybody. He didn't know what was going on until one day Tully picked up the phone and called him. And I wonder if there was a degree of truth in that. We didn't see a lot of Gresham on AEW television at all. Maybe he wasn't signed officially up to that point, but maybe he was sitting at home, and even then there was just a lack of communication, a general communication from the AEW side as to what is going on. You know, he spent some time in Ring of Honor. I'm sure he was very passionate about Ring of Honor and wanted to be loyal to ROH. And it's got to be a frustrating thing for him. He's the world champion. And so if he's trying to get answers on, what are your plans for me? What are your plans for the brand? And Tony Khan is not responding to him, or he's just not getting answers from the right people. I mean, look, we heard from, what was it, Marco Stunt a few weeks ago talked about, and other people also have talked about how they were ghosted. Maybe it wasn't Marco, maybe it was somebody else, but they had said that they felt ghosted by Tony Khan. Some of these people that have seen their contracts lapse, it's almost as if Tony Khan he doesn't want to talk to them, he doesn't want to confront them, and he's content to just let it go to voicemail, leave text messages, unreplied to, and just kind of let their deals run out. At the end of the day, the buck stops with Tony Khan. Whoever is running the talent relations end of that company, the buck stops with Tony Khan. He's got to figure this out. There's got to be better communication behind the scenes. Now we have multiple stories of multiple people. That's probably a department that he's going to have to overhaul or designate new people to help or bring new people in, because you got to have open lines of communication with your talent. And even if he's not the point person, it's still his company. So Jonathan Gresham, no update on whether or not he has been granted his release, but he has requested it. He did the job for Claudio. I mean, he went out there, they were having a good match, he put the guy over, he shook his hand, and apparently he didn't even stay for the rest of the show. He left the venue immediately after the opening match. But we have seen, we have seen the last of Jonathan Gresham, unless the two sides make up. We have seen the last of him in Ring of Honor. And look, even though I feel like the move of putting the title on Claudio was the right move to make, it's the move that I would have made for all the reasons I just got done talking about. I can totally understand Jonathan Gresham's position on this, and we'll see if more information comes out. But the communication thing, this is not the first time I've heard about this. It's the first time I've heard of one of these guys cussing out Tony Khan. But you can understand frustrations boil over, and he feels disrespected. I can't get answers out of you guys. Now you're telling me I'm going on first and I'm dropping my title in 11 minutes. I can't say that I fault the guy for feeling that way.